Hello and welcome to Founders Amplified, where we spotlight underrepresented founders who are driving innovation and impact across various industries and sectors across the globe. I'm your host, Narayan Kulkarni, and I'm excited to be here with you today. Today's guest is ThankGod Ibeh. ThankGod Ibeh is a social entrepreneur, youth development advocate, and the co-founder and digital talent director of Star Lab Academy, a social enterprise dedicated to empowering underserved African youth. Based in Lagos, Nigeria, ThankGod has a passion for bridging the gap between talent and opportunity. And with a background in media production and digital skills, his social enterprise, Star Lab Academy, empowers underserved African youth with the skills and mentorship to thrive in the digital economy. The venture is innovative through its blended model of school-based career clubs and the Pathfinder app, a smart tool for personalized career navigation. Star Lab Academy's work has been recognized for its impactful approach to bridging the gap between education and career opportunity, and ThankGod is committed to building a movement to unlock Africa's youth potential. So, now that you know a little bit more about ThankGod, let's dive into the conversation. Welcome to Founders Amplified. ThankGod. It is so great to have you with us today. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, here as well. Thanks for the opportunity to share.
You're most welcome. Amazing to hear that you're doing well, and thanks again for being here too. So I'd like to get started with knowing a little bit more about your story. So could you please tell me and our audience what led you to become a founder, and if there were any particular moments or experiences that sparked that decision?
Yeah, I think because of what I said the organization I initiated, it came out of the need to help young people, like I say, empower young people towards making decisions when it comes to career. So I discovered in the community where I grew up that as at the time I left tertiary institution, I discovered that we were just glued to, like I say, the norm, which has to do with young people going through the process of primary, secondary, get to the tertiary institution, and perhaps becoming a lawyer, an engineer, or a doctor. And if parents can't afford such, they allow their children or their kids to get into manual jobs. So like becoming tailors, we call them engineers, we call them mechanics here, and get involved into some of those stuff. But coming back from schools and having learned some of the digital skills, I felt seeing the world evolving. That was 2015 precisely. I knew that digital skills, so like I said, we'll be having careers that have to do with some of the digital skills we know today. And so one of the things that pushed me is I remember saying one thing that connecting with some of the digital skills becoming so scarce then. Remember, I said I come to my community and the only place I can find programmers, designers, and some of these tech skills we know were in schools. And so one of the things I decided to do then was to develop these people in the community. And so in that process, trying to take up classes, digital classes especially, that will help to empower young people into some of these skills, bracing the idea of, okay, having an academy that would not just help young people to learn the skill, also take them through the journey of getting to apply the skills and even earn from it as well. I think that's exactly where it started from, the love for these young people and helping to empower them. So I think if I'm going to add to that, something is so unique about this is that the young people have energy to do so many things. And I discovered that if they are not exposed to some of these skills, they get themselves involved into other vices that might not be too good for the community. So I took advantage of this and quickly tried to engage them into some of these skills. And I think that's exactly what led me to this.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing. That resonates. I can tell you because I mean I in Indian American. I grew up in the U.S. and so like many Indian people or many people who are of Asian American background, there is that expectation of becoming a lawyer, doctor, or in one of these high-paying careers, and that can put people into maybe not really discovering their passion. And also, I will tell you when I was growing up in high school, virtual school was a new thing, but I was one of very early adopter into it. And digital skills were a new thing. So yes, like digital skills, and as we all know, digital skills are vital in many economies today. So I applaud you for your foresight in those, and also, of course, wanting to help young people where there are so many different young people, especially in Africa, where like you do a lot of your work, and that's it's so crucial to go ahead and help young people. Now, the next thing I'd like to know is I'd like to dive a little bit deeper. So, could you tell me more about and you mentioned, for example, seeing where you grew up, shaping your story. Can you tell me more and our audience more about how your story, maybe like how your perspective of being Nigerian, growing up in this particular like community, or any other facets of your identity have given you a unique perspective on what you're doing as a founder?
Yeah. So I think one thing that is core about what I do, that's I would say is helping me to stand out, is the fact that I I so much believe in not just having to learn skills, not just having to develop yourself. I so much believe in having to do that without struggling. Like there are a lot of things that the society has pulled us into getting ourselves into when it comes to career and skills. Oh, we've got to just do this because we need to survive. But I think I'm thinking beyond that. And what is unique about my thoughts is I believe that there's something unique about everybody, a skill, a strength, a talent, and that if being developed, if being worked upon, could just make you a master of what you of whatever you put your hands into. So I think I'm taking my strength from that. So and one of the core thing, the unique thing, especially in the Nigerian setting, extended even to Africa, is I made that first. So not just about developing, not just about training. When we have some of these young people come together, the first thing I want to do is help them with talent discovery. I want to take them through a process that we get to identify their strengths. I want to take them through a process that help them feel comfortable doing whatever they'll be doing for the next few weeks. And so we take them through this development, young people identifying that, oh, it seems I'm good at design. It seems I'm good at coding. It seems I'm logical. It seems I love pictures. It seems I can talk well. So I do well becoming a content creator in form of a public speaker also. So I think that's just the unique concept to whatever I'm doing. And if I'm going to extend that conversation, I will just chip this in. One of the things that powered one of the projects I got involved in this year is trying to, because this has worked for me and worked for us in Star Lab Academy when it comes to digital skills, like I mentioned. So now I'm like, oh, this could be applied even in the educational field. If we can bring this idea of young people identifying their strengths first, even before getting them involved into training and some of this development, so the idea now is we collaborated with the school and piloted what we call the Career Club. And in our Career Club, one thing is just certain. We're just helping young people to understand and explore different career and be able to navigate through to really know which career works for them, even before having to go to a department or enroll for a course. And so, summarily, I would just say, I think if there's one thing that I felt is not being done well, is the idea of just having to study or learn anything without identifying your strengths. And if there's one thing that I'm trying to fix and that's unique about what I'm doing is the idea of helping young people to go through that process of identifying their strengths first, even before development commence. Yeah.
Well said. Thanks for sharing. It's amazing to hear that you have guided young people through a process of self-discovery and career development, which it sounds like in your case has been something that is much needed in both the Nigerian and African setting. I will tell you, I mean, I have mentored founders in ed tech, in education sectors who are developing nonprofits in Nigeria, but also in other countries in West Africa, like Ghana, for example, where yes, like there are parts of those countries like Accra in Ghana or like Lagos in Nigeria, where yes, there are places where it's really well developed, but that's not always the case. And even in like very developed countries like the US, for example, or in Canada, there is still like a great disparity in that access. So it's like it's always anywhere you are in the world, it's really important to have someone. Mentorship is universal. Having someone who takes you through that process at the right age is universal. And I applaud you for being someone and providing a way for young people to do that. That's amazing. The next
Yeah,
thing I'd love to
thanks.
know more about, you talked a little bit about this aspect of discovery, but what is something else or other things about Starlab Academy that might make people in edtech more generally, or more specifically in the Nigerian context, in the African context, people just in the education sector, look at what you're doing and say, oh, I've never thought of it that way, or that's really unique. Can you tell us a little
Okay.
bit more about that?
Yeah, I would say I don't know how surprising it could be though, but few weeks ago, I think few months precisely, um, we're trying to automate some of this process. We've done this for a long time manually. So if there's anything I would say could that's been done, um, AI is something everybody's trying to incorporate into the system. So yeah, we could have a career guidance um platform that's AI driven. So this time young people don't need to sit with counselors at all time, because I think we could just have an LLM platform, AI powered, that perhaps have most of the relevant questions and have responses that could really help young people to identify themselves and not always have to. Maybe perhaps they could be advanced reason to meet mentors, but some of those basic things they could always get because of AI. The idea is that it has the connection with a lot of data, especially when it comes to career guidance. So if there's one thing really that is unique and something that is huge, especially in this path, is having an AI powered career guidance platform where young people could just log in and have a kind of conversational, let's say, um, yeah, a conversation with some of like in the form of a chat, like we have for ChatGPT, and through that conversation will be able to identify themselves, know more about themselves, and even have clarity, especially when making decisions when it comes to career. Yeah, I think that's what I would say about that.
Well said. I appreciate your perspective on using AI to automate or address more common queries that students have. I will tell you, as someone who mentors in programs, career development programs using AI, as well as mentoring startups who are using AI. Yes, like there are common things for which a mentor may not be needed, but there are, of course, places where a mentor can be needed. And of course, that can also take sometimes language, culture, and certain situations can be really helpful. And that's kind of leads me to my next question. So I'm just going to focus on Nigeria specifically, but Nigeria is such a diverse country with so many different cultures. There's Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo spoken in different parts of Nigeria. There's like different religious traditions in Nigeria, different tribes. How do you envision or see the work of Starlab Academy and incorporating for and localizing with each of those nuances of Nigerian culture?
Yeah, thanks a lot for asking that. I think um just I think early this year, I had the opportunity to I had an interview as well, and someone in Nigeria, the northern side of Nigeria, and that is the Hausa side of Nigeria, I would say, asked the question: How can this be incorporated into this, especially in an environment that is kind of underserved? And they don't even have access to internet, especially when I even raise the issue of AI, that some of these people don't even have access to internet. And and apart from adding to what you even asked, especially when it comes to other barriers, language, and the rest of that. So one thing that could really solve is a good collaboration with like we've got some of these network providers that interface with different communities, especially using Nigeria, for instance, and align some of this process, especially when it comes to discovery and some of these guidance to be available via the USSD. So I know everybody has, at least to a point, even though it's not an internetly connected device like the smartphones, Android phones, and the rest of that, perhaps have access to some of these phones that can at least dial text, that can text, and impute some of these codes that can always do some of this. So I'm seeing there's a basic version of this that could make sure that whatever is being provided when it comes to career guidance and helping people to discover their strengths is making all of this even very possible, just like we do to customer services using for some of these network providers. So using codes to get questions answered, using texts in different languages. Now, because it's not something that is going to be new, because this network provider already interfacing with these people in their different locality. So it's like just trying to adopt the style that is already in use and utilizing that model now this time for the young people, either in language form or accessibility, so they can always still have access to this old stuff. So I think that would be a very good one there. Yeah.
Well said. I appreciate that you're using technology and creative ways in order to connect with, as you've talked about, places where there's limited internet connectivity, or places where it may not be as easy, or places where there may not be as much bandwidth to power things like AI. Now, to the other part of the question, which I would love to know a little bit more about, is how do you ensure that your trainings are culturally competent and they're aware of people who have different cultural backgrounds and maybe different or relate to that different styles of learning and different styles of how they discover themselves?
Yeah. So I think one of the thing, if I'm going to come to digital, the digital perspective, is I think making discovery and everything very practical. So I think irrespective of background, irrespective of culture, everybody could always relate to something that has to do with something that is very practical. So and one of the way we've tried to achieve that is apart from coming from their own story, so in which looking at the community and the society, what is feasible and what they are connected to, and also identifying. So one of the things we do is aligning. Oh, this is what works in this community. This is what works in this, but this is what technology that is available. How can we align and match? So it's not like taking people far from what they're already used to. I think that is one. So number one is trying to make every of the solutions to be something practicable and something practical, yes, something practical, and not just that, something that's very much accessible that can relate, that people can relate with. So I think that's perhaps, I don't know if I answered the question.
That I appreciate what I heard was the combination of understanding at a baseline where these individuals are coming from, culturally, practically, technologically, etc., but grounding it in a common value that is what you're looking for. And I heard practicality and practical
Yeah.
applications being one of those. So that does answer the question, and I appreciate what you've shared.
Okay.
I will
Thank you.
also say, I partly asked this question because, as I told you, I have mentored people in West Africa and other parts of the world where sometimes they might use different metaphors or they might call upon different stories to explain certain things. They might, for example, have to consider, for example, if there is a woman who is being mentored, only having a woman going ahead and support them. Or, for example, people of similar religious groups or people of similar backgrounds career-wise, because in certain cultures and countries, there's so much of a more tactical emphasis on career development where they need to have there's the practicality is so heavily emphasized versus in other places it can be much more about values. So those are some other things that I have seen in different contexts. And I was curious what your perspective was, but you've provided an interesting and valuable perspective, which I appreciate as well. So, yeah. The next thing I'd love to know more about is, so obviously you are doing so first of all, you are helping young people develop themselves. You're also helping with digital skills training, which both of those are really, really big, very, very positive areas, which have immense potential for young people in their later lives. Digital skills in this fast growing economy worldwide, but particularly in Africa, where there's such so much excitement and so much growth in many different respects. So I'd like for us to maybe zoom out like 5, 10 years. What are you seeing in that, like in a 5, 10 year future with Star Lab in the African context that shows you the impacts you're seeing then, that shows you that what you're doing is working?
Yeah. So because of the new model we're incorporating, and the one of the things you raised now, that when it comes to trying to solve people's problem, and sometimes you can only solve problems looking at their own lens, looking at their own perspective, especially when it comes to cultural problems and the rest of that. So I think one of the things that I see happening in the future is collaboration, because I think some people are already in such position, and I believe we have change makers in form of organizations or person in different either region, states, countries, even in Africa. So I think I see ourselves collaborating with as many, but this time, so it's not something too almost looking impossible, with NGOs, those ones that really need this service. They have access to this underserved community, and they need someone that can make the impact, that can empower them. So we're looking forward to collaborating, like in 5 years, collaborating with as much as 1,000 NGOs, very possible. Yeah, collaborating with NGOs. And I think I can solidify this by what just happened a few weeks ago. And we collaborated with three NGOs in Ghana, and the impact was huge. We got young people connecting for the virtual 2 weeks graphic design class, and just going just for 2 weeks, and we're able to impact them on how graphic design really should be, how design should look like, and in fact the basic to becoming a graphic designer. So building on that, we'll be doing a lot of collaboration, and not just that, because of what we started when it comes to school, we are looking forward, which is still a collaboration, planting in every private and public schools, especially in Lagos, first, a career club. So remember, I'm building on what is already there. So it means we're not trying to learn from the scratch. We're not trying to build from the scratch. We're already going to our existing platforms, either in schools, like initiating career clubs in schools. We are going through the principles, and so getting a representative in the school setting that this is how we do it, and we are working together because they understand how the school work, no matter the region or no matter where we are connected. That's for career clubs. We are looking at connecting with at least 50 schools, let's say in across board, but 15 in Lagos to start with. Yeah. Then in Africa, collaborating with as many NGOs as possible, because I think because of the invention of platforms like myself being able to speak with you, location, or will I say distance, is no barrier. It means we can really have make huge impacts in different parts of Africa once we're able to collaborate with NGOs in those locations, and we are coming with what we can offer. So I see ourselves scaling up and building on the wings of one, collaborating or partnering with schools, secondary schools in different locations to plant in career clubs. And I see ourselves collaborating with NGOs in different countries, yeah, to see how we can empower and help reach the community closest to them. Yeah, that's what I see.
Amazing. The possibilities for access to education, career development in Lagos in the short term, but also in many different countries in Africa via NGOs in the mesoterm sounds really exciting. Now, to add to that question, in the longer term, so once these people, like these young people, have, say, gotten graphic design skills, say they have career direction, in their lives, what are the ripple effects that has on their communities? What are the ripple effects that has on the African economies in Africa? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah.
In your view?
Yeah, so I think that would make me talk about some of the process and that we've fixed in place. So it's not just having to teach skills. So there's a program we're incorporating into all of this mission, and it's what we call the mentorship program, especially when it comes to meeting people from different parts. And how it works is our primary goal is to mentor these people to become mentors. So and that expands the workforce. It means, for example, when everybody comes on board and we're able to connect with so many NGOs, and we can reach people that we couldn't have reached on our own, and they are trained either in different skills, graphic design, photography, or whatsoever skills, or based on their strengths. Then they go through the process of mentorship, having the opportunity to communicate or get guidance and support from professionals, and they get so better. And through our real-time projects, the program now is designed in a way that after going through, they had the opportunity to also mentor other people. So it means this spread. So we're not just touching their lives, we train them, mentor them to become mentors themselves and to even help and aid in building the community, which in turn would affect people around them to also begin to learn some of this. And I guess, and I believe rather that is going to be a boost to the community, because this time you'll be having young people in different communities across Africa making huge impact, because now they now have tools, they're now empowered, and not only can they use these tools to earn and to help them financially, which will help the economy. That is, it also makes them to become employable, because now they have something to offer, trying to get employed into different organizations. But remember, we do not just want to help them and empower them to have all of those success. We also want them to be able to create those change themselves. So I would say there's a system in place to help these people, these young people that will be mentored, to become mentors themselves and see that to be part of life. Yeah.
Well said. I especially love the last part that you mentioned of mentorship becoming a part of life as the byproduct of a system where you are doing train the trainer and mentors. I think that's amazing. And I will say, because I have mentored like lots and lots of people around the world. And for me, mentoring is a very important dear part of my lifestyle. That was one of the seeds that led me to this podcast. So I definitely resonate with that. And I appreciate that you've talked about, yes, like there is, of course, um, meant like the ability to have economic benefits, employability, but yes, like a lifestyle and a capacity building that then has ripple effects into both the tangible system that you've created, but also the intangible effects on people's hearts, minds, and their development. So thank you so much for that. Now, it looks like, and it sounds like, as you've been sharing, there's so many different things you've been doing in terms of structures you've been planting, career clubs that you've been running, skills training. It sounds like in that process you've learned so many different things. So, could you maybe highlight for us one or two things that you know now in your founder journey that you wish you had known before you had started?
Yeah. So well, I say, because the way I started was just trying to make a change and trying to impact young people. Yeah, so I just jumped into it. So just trying to reach out to people. Lately I begin to, I'll use the word amplify what I do. Uh yeah, I was just doing that in my little community, and transforming lives. And so if there's anything that perhaps I wish I knew before now, was to really talk about what I do. Like, because I think what has changed from when I started to now is I would have got enough support. Yeah, I would have got enough support, and then I could have positioned myself for bigger opportunities, so that I'm not just meeting the same set of people again and again, and it's looking as if even the impact is becoming saturated, when there's a lot of people out there that needs it. A lot of people outside my state, outside the country, outside the continents. So if there's anything I would change out that I could have worked on, is I would have amplified my voice and amplified the impacts. And not just that, I would have worked a lot with collaboration and partnership. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Well said. Thanks so much for sharing. So, how can people find you and how can they support your work?
Yeah. So because of what I'll be doing after, I mean, towards the tail end of this year, and I mentioned to be able to achieve some of those goals in the next 5 years, which has to do a lot with collaboration, with collaboration. I finding me definitely will be through my platform, the Startup Academy, and I think on LinkedIn, I'm ThankGod Ibeh. Yeah, ThankGod Ibeh is even the username. Yeah, then how they can really help is helping me to reach out to these people. I don't know. Um I have, will I say, by God's grace, I've been able to build a community of facilitators, people that want to really help, that want to reach out to some of this. So as NGOs trying to boost collaboration that can help me to reach thousands and thousands of people, have a lot of virtual workshops. So any platform that wants to do that, and not just that, I should add this. So one of the way to really help this go well is because we are looking forward to connecting with as many NGOs as possible, which in turn trying to reach young people in every community. Um, I discovered something recently. I think I'm just fortunate. I'm a designer and I work in the broadcast space, so I understand brand and the rest of that. Many of the NGOs, because they are non-profit organizations, might not have funds to get themselves, position themselves for global support. I'm also looking forward to brand organization, creative companies collaborating with this mission to even ensure that the NGOs that we'll be connecting with and we'll be collaborating with have at least maybe a discounted um, um, opportunity to branding themselves, to well position them for support. Because I believe the kind of NGOs we'll be collaborating with are those that are in the grassroots, those that really have connections and a touch to the real people some of the international bodies really want to reach out to. So I'm looking forward to more collaborations for with NGOs and at the same time with brand organizations, media organizations to help position some of these NGOs for global support as well. Yeah.
Well said. Thanks so much for sharing those many different ways people can find and support you. To our audience, you can find some of Thank God's information in the show notes. So please take a look. Now it's time for our signature question. Could you please fill in the blank? I amplify.
I amplify. Okay. I'm so sorry.
No, yeah. So if you could please fill in the blank, I amplify.
Okay. What am I expected to say, sir?
Just fill in the blank with whatever people, causes, individuals, like spiritual deity, or whatever you believe is important to amplify. That is what I would love to know from this question. That's the signature
Okay.
question is for this purpose. So yes,
Yeah, I get it.
it's your answer. It's your view. Every single founder has a unique answer. So I'd love to hear what you amplify. So can you please tell us and fill in the blank with the signature question? I amplify.
Yeah, I amplify that every young people needs to make informed decision, and the best way to doing that is hate them with every resource possible, so that they will make the right decision. Yeah, in career. Amplify
Okay,
that.
again, thanks so much. Thank God. And to our audience, I want you all to know that like whenever I ask this question, our guests don't script it in advance. We have these unscripted, authentic conversations. So like his answer clearly came from the heart. And you can tell, hopefully, from what we've said. And I just want to put that there and really thank you so much for being here. Thank God
Thank
for
you.
this episode, for sharing your journey and your insights. It was just so amazing to hear the innovative, creative things you're doing with Startup Academy and why that's important in the Nigerian context, in the African context, and the different impacts that's going to enable in our world. And I just want to pause and reflect on some of the things that I heard and tell you some things that really resonated with me. And now to our audience, I'm sure you probably will hear a lot of amazing things, but these are just some things that stood out to me. So first of all, one thing that I absolutely love is I can tell that you have a lot of courage and wanting to make a big change in education in a country and in a context where that is a gigantic problem, where employability is a gigantic problem. I know this because I've spoken to founders in the ed tech space. I've like evaluated hackathon solutions for young girls in the Nigerian context who want to like make this challenge, address this challenge. So that it's a gigantic problem, and I applaud the courage that you have to do this. The second thing, which I really appreciate that you've talked about, is I can clearly tell you have a love for and admiration for young people, and I think it's very uncommon. I've not found too many men my age who have that genuine love and support, who are not like teachers by profession. Want to do that. I think that's really special. The other thing which you've talked about, which I think is really important, is the point about access. Access both in terms of education, but also access in terms of training to mentor, so the meta level access. I think that's really important more broadly, but particularly in an African context, and especially like I know that in Africa there's a strong tradition of like the griot, there's a strong tradition of like family, strong tradition of like cultural storytelling, and I think that like being able to speak to that in a modern sense is also really powerful. And also, I mean, again, as someone who loves name etymologies, like I think of your names like thank God, obviously, like a gift to God, like gratitude. I can tell you there's a gratitude about your personality. Also, Ibeh, again, I don't know, like I know like that word has a lot of different connotations, but my understanding of the word Ibeh, it's like it's an Igbo word which has to do with like eye, vision, wealth. So I can clearly tell you have like a vision for like a broader like Africa, a broader like world, and also you're bringing abundance in terms of like education and training. So I just see you as a personification of some aspects of your name. So with all that, I just want to thank you for being on the podcast. Just thank you for being you, and I want to celebrate you as being an underrepresented founder who is like making a meaningful change in ed tech, in education, in Nigeria and Africa and in our world. So thank you very much. Thank God for being
Thank you
here.
so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, and to everyone that's connected, yeah, it's nice to also have you all. Thank you, and God bless you all. Yeah.
Of course. So it was again so amazing to hear your perspectives in this episode. Thank you so much once again for joining us. I look forward to staying in touch, but I'd like to say bye for now. Thank God. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Thanks.
To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Founders Amplified. I hope you're feeling as inspired as I am. If you'd like to learn more about our guests and support them, check out the show notes for their details. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating, share it with someone you know, and follow us for more inspiring episodes like this one. If you're a founder who is driving innovation and impact in any industry or sector anywhere in the world and would like to be a guest, we'd love to hear from you. Check out the show notes for more information. And finally, remember that you, yes, you, have the power to amplify the voices around you. Whether you're a colleague, family member, friend, funder, mentor, or just another fellow human, your support matters. So I invite you to celebrate and uplift the underrepresented innovators in your life who are driving innovation and impact. Let's create a better future for everyone, together. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep amplifying.